welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here with me today. And today's video is going to be a pretty fun one because we're going through all 25 of the books that I currently have bookmarks in. So let's get into it. So since I have 25 books that I currently have bookmarks in, which I know is way too many, and my number one goal this year is to read all of them and then stop starting books and not finishing them because it's such a bad habit. And once I finish the books, I'm like, wow, why didn't I read that sooner? So we're going to try to break that habit this year, and I'm hoping you guys will hold me accountable. So because I have 25 books, I'm going to just pretty much go through them, say a few details about them, say who the author is, and then hold up the next one because it's going to take me a while if I don't do that. So we're going to start with the first book, which is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I actually own like 4 Riley Sager books. This is the only one I haven't finished. I'm on page 100 even. So I'm on page 100 and I haven't managed to make any more progress. I do like the premise of this book. I just don't know what's stopping me from finishing it. I think it's because whenever I've tried to, I'm not in a thriller mood, and I'm a huge mood reader. So yes, hopefully this is one of the ones that will get finished this year. And for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically about the game Two Truths and a Lie involving girls from a summer camp and how things went horribly wrong. Yeah. It's actually very good. I would give it a chance. Okay, the next one is Deadline by Mira Grant, and this is the second book in the News Flesh series. The first book is Speed, and Mira Grant writes a lot of horror science fiction, which I love. I love when we make horror and science fiction a combination because they just work so well together. This is about zombies. As you can see, I'm 227 pages into it, and I am annotating. And annotating does take me a while, which is why I don't think I have finished this book. But yes, it's so good, and I need to finish this so that I can finish the series because this series is one of my favorite series of all time. I just need to read the rest of it, and to do that, I need to get through this book. All right, the next one is Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. Funnily enough, Seanan McGuire, Mira Grant, same person. So this is also science fiction, I believe, and I'm on page 80, so I'm a decent chunk of the way into it. I don't know what's stopping me from reading this book. I looked at it for so many years and I never bought it, and then I finally did, and I can't finish it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I think I might like Mira Grant more than Seanan McGuire, but we'll see. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is about twins, Roger and Dodger. Roger is skilled with words and Dodger is skilled with math. And these twins this whole book is about alchemical arts and stuff like that. So yeah, this is super interesting, and I need to finish it because I'm sure it's so good. I just need to sit down and actually try to read it. The next book is The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. This is my first Chuck Wendig book. I heard he's written quite a few things, so I'm kind of surprised I've never read anything by him till now. Yep, he's written a lot of things. And this is got the most beautiful cover ever. I love it. I just started reading this a week ago, but I am on page 59. I'm on page 59. And this is about this family who move into the dad's father's house, and his father was super abusive, and the wife saw something she wasn't supposed to, and now their son is experiencing some strange things and they have to come together. This is actually fantasy horror, and I don't read a lot of fantasy horror, but I'm kind of excited because if this has actual horror in it combined with fantasy, I'm going to be so happy. From what I've read so far, it kind of is like Stephen King, who whose books also feel like fantasy horror. This book kind of feels like one of those. I'm super excited to actually finish this. All right, next we have a really big one, which is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I always want to say Harlow, but it's Harrow. This is about feminism and witches in the simplest terms, which I love. I love witches. I love reading about witches. So I need to finish this because I started it last year in the summer and I'm only on page 18. That's not good. So yes, this is about 3 sisters. They're all witches and it's about feminism. It's historical fantasy, I believe. And yeah, I'm super excited to actually get to this year. The next book is Iron Widow by Shiran J. Zhao. I probably said that so wrong. This is a debut novel, and I'm super excited because the second book actually comes out this year. So if I really like this, I'm probably going to end up getting the second book. And it's also a signed edition, which is super cool. I got this at Barnes & Noble, for those of you wondering. And I'm on page 19. So I'm not super far in. I've liked what I've read of it so far, though. It's been super good. And I love that it's not a love triangle because, let's be honest, who likes love triangles? No one. I think they're so stupid. Like, that is the one trope I hate more than anything. And I think you can blame the Hunger Games for that. Anyways. So, yep, I hope to get to this maybe next month. We'll see. I feel like I'm going to be in a fantasy mood really soon, so probably next month, if not this month. All right, the next book is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is for my student teaching. Some of my students will be reading this as their class book, so I need to read it first and make sure that it's appropriate for them, which totally is just a formality that I have to do. I'm currently on page 38. And I'm actually really liking it so far. So this one will get read this month. It's just because I really have to read this soon so that the students can start reading it. And the next book is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is actually on my February TBR. So this will get read this month, which is so good. I'm on page 178. So yeah. Super excited. I love this so far, and it's actually reading super fast, which surprised me because normally high fantasy, epic fantasy, they can be very slow paced, but this, I'm like flying through this. So I am loving it so far, and you will hear more details about this in my February wrap up and a specific vlog that this will be in, which is super exciting. Oh, hi baby. Hi baby. My dog. His name is King Louie. He's perfect. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Anyways, the next book is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. This is also on my February TBR and a specific vlog that'll hopefully be coming out in a couple of weeks. So super exciting that I'm finally going to get to this. I'm on page 69. So I'm a decent chunk of the way into it, and I hope that I can finish this super quick. Okay, next we have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This book is about dragons, and that's really all I know. I think it's about dragons. There's a dragon on the cover, so I'm really only 4 pages into it. So it's I'm not very far into it. So I really don't know anything other than like what the back says, which is that basically Queen Sabrin must conceive a daughter to protect her realm from assassins. Oh, and she's being hunted by assassins. I really don't know anything about this book at all, but I'm super excited to read it. It's on my February TBR and also on that specific vlog I keep mentioning. So you will see more details about what I think later. All right, that's the first stack. So now we're gonna get into the second. I make sure that the one doesn't fall over. Next, we have Good Girls Die First by Catherine Foxfield. This is a YA thriller. I'm 26 pages into it, And it's basically about 10 kids invited to an abandoned amusement park. And basically, the person who invited them knows their secrets, and they all want to keep their secrets safe. So I'm super excited about this. I love abandoned locations so much in books, and the fact that this is the abandoned amusement park is the main setting of the book makes me so happy. I hope to get to this soon because I think it actually sounds really good, and this cover is amazing. Like, look at this cover. Super creepy, right? So yeah, and because it's YA and it's a thriller, it's going to read super fast and super quick and super easily. So I know that once I start actually reading this, I'm just going to fly through it. Okay, the next book is In the Garden of Spite by Camilla Bruce. This book is interesting. It's about a female serial killer named, what's her name? The Black Widow of LaPorte. The Black Widow of LaPorte, Indiana, I believe. And this is about, her name is Belle Gunness, I believe. And she is not a well-known female serial killer. And so this book is like what a novelization of her life would look like. It's very interesting. I'm 251 pages into it. So I really only have a little bit left to finish. So once I actually sit down to read this, I could probably finish it in one sitting. But yeah, it's super good so far, so I really need to pick this back up and find out how it ends. Next, we have Parasite by Mira Grant. Surprise, surprise. More Mira Grant. This is her Symbiont trilogy, so there's 3 books. Parasite is the first. I'm on page 104, and basically it's about a genetically modified tapeworm that lives inside people and keeps them healthy. Crazy. This is like very futuristic. I read this premise and I was like, what can you write about that? Like, I'm very confused. And then I started reading the book and I was like, oh, that's how it's gonna go. So basically the parasites start wanting a life of their own instead of just being a benefit for humans. So yeah, I'm super excited to finish this. This might not get read until October, which is totally okay because it's a very Halloween-esque book. So yeah, this is another one I have yet to finish. All right, next we have A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. I'm on page 88, and I need to finish this because I started it like a year ago. So it's been so long. The second book is just sitting on my shelf. I need to read this. I love that it has a main character with cerebral palsy. That's so awesome to me because it's so hard to find fantasy that has representation of disabilities. So I'm so excited for this, and this is a YA, which makes that even more groundbreaking. I need to finish this because what I read, I really liked. All right, the next book is Harry Potter y la Piedra Filosofal. So I am bilingual. I do speak Spanish. I am rereading the Harry Potter series in Spanish to kind of help me with my literacy, help me with my speaking, help me with my comprehension. And I've been attempting to read this for so long. I'm on page 64. And yeah, I know the whole story. I know what happens. It's so time consuming for me to read in Spanish because it's not my native language. But I just need to buck up, sit down, and do it. So yeah, I am super excited to actually read this and hopefully the second book this year and actually feel accomplished that I read a chapter book in Spanish. The next book is The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness, and this is the last book in the All Souls trilogy. I love this trilogy. This is my favorite fantasy romance trilogy ever to ever exist. I don't think anything could ever top this, especially because even though the author was a historian, her writing is immaculate. It is so good. And I love Matthew and I love Diana, and I love how the pregnancy trope is used in this book and in the second book. Anyways, I'm on page 131. So I still have this huge chunk to read, but I need to read this because I need to know how it ends. And then I can finally watch the series because, yeah. Although, I don't know. I think I prefer the books over the series, which is the norm anyway, but I don't really like who plays Matthew in the series. It's just not how I imagined him at all. So yeah. Okay, my voice is starting to like wear out. My next book I have to finish is Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey. And this book is so long. I'm only on page 7, and it's so long. I read the first book and I loved it. I actually read that so fast because I loved it so much. And this one, I don't know. I don't like that we're following different side characters. I don't like that, to be honest, but we will see how it goes. And hopefully I will read this by the end of the year. The next book we have is Uprooted, and I don't know why this book like scares me so much, but it does. Like, I've been trying to read this book for almost 2 years and I'm only at page 16. I don't know what it is. I can't get into it for some reason, and that makes me so upset because I want to get into it so badly and I can't. But this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year that I finally freaking read this book. Finally. After 2 years, I'm going to read it this year. All right, my next book is Good Girl, Bad Blood. And I read the first one and I loved it, but I started this one and then I didn't finish. Surprise, surprise. I'm on page 38 and I loved the premise of the first one. I'm worried I'm not going to love this one as much, but I need to read it so that I can read the third book, which I've heard good things about. I've heard nothing but good things about this series, so I need to read this so that I can finally finish the series. I'm going to take a water break. I'm going to have to edit out all my coughs. Okay, we're almost done. We only have 6 more to go. So next is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I actually read The Perks of Being a Wallflower and really liked it. I think it was very authentic about what teenagers experience. So I'm very excited to read this. My issue is the words are so tiny, and that scares me. And the pages are so thin. So yeah, I'm on page 20. And I hope to read this in October because this is a horror, so that would be kind of the perfect time to read it. And I honestly don't know what this is about, and it's kind of going to stay that way because I don't like it when my horror gets spoiled for me at all. That's the one genre I don't like, getting spoiled for me. Okay, the next book is The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. This is actually nonfiction. It's about a true story of these women who worked in radium factories and were exposed to radium, and unfortunately a lot of them died from that exposure, and the ones who lived sued the company. And this is like their story of that, and also how we figured out that radium is bad for you. This is super interesting. I think there's a movie on Netflix about it under the same name, and I'm on page 104. So I'm actually quite a decent chunk into it, and I need to finish it because I am enjoying this, and I do think it's really good. And I always love reading stories of women who, even though they struggled, they persevered and were resilient in really unfavorable circumstances. All right, so the next book is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is what I refer to as junk food fantasy romance because it's super addicting. It's not necessarily the best written or the best plot, but you can't put it down for some reason. It's not good, but it's addicting. So I'm 346 pages into it, and I just can't manage to finish it for some reason. I don't know why. I think Poppy and Hawk are like grating on my nerves is why. And I do own the other books, and I'm going to read them, but like I probably won't purchase any more that come out in this series because I honestly think there are way better fantasy romance series out here, but I already have them, so I might as well read them and give my honest opinion. And yeah, hopefully I read this and the rest of the series before the end of the year, but we'll see. All right, next is Guild by Raven Kennedy. And this is the shortest book in this pile, but for some reason I can't get into it. I'm only on page 19. I haven't even made it to 20 pages. I think the beginning has been so dull and so boring that I am having a hard time getting into it. And I honestly don't know what the plot is, and I think that's what's like tripping me up, because it doesn't feel like this book has a plot, even though I know it most likely does, and it's just not going to be revealed right away. But for some reason, it's bothering me with this book. So I am hoping to read this pretty soon, as it is a short book, and it would be really easy to just tack it on at the end of a month if I need like one more book to read or something. But yeah, we will see. I really want to continue with the rest of this series, even if I don't like this first one, because Olivia Reads a Latte raves about how good the other books are. So yes, this one will get finished this year. I am determined. All right, the second to last book is The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, and I'm going to be honest, I don't like this trilogy. I don't know what it is. I don't like this trilogy. I have such a hard time getting into The Cruel Prince, and it's the same with this book. I have the audiobook, and I can't get into it. So I am going to do my best to finish this one, but I might just be DNFing this whole trilogy, even though I have all three. I can't get into it. It really sucks, because I am the one person who doesn't like this trilogy when everybody else does. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this book can change my mind. I hope it does, because I really want to like this, but so far I'm not. It kind of sucks. Okay, and the last book is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I have like 3 copies of this book, all complete accident. I'm on page 24. And let's be honest, I've been spoiled for this entire series, so I know everything that happens. And here's the thing. I don't think I like Feyre as a narrator, not as a character, but as a narrator, because we only see the world through her eyes, and it feels like she's a very biased, very unreliable narrator, and that she hasn't taken the time to listen or empathize with her sisters, and her sisters haven't taken the time to listen or empathize with her. I'm just not a fan of reading about sibling relationships where they always fight. I feel like that's a trope, and I don't like it. I don't like reading that. I want to read about sibling relationships where they actually love each other, and it feels like they don't in this book, and I feel like that's been my major problem of getting into it. Anyways, if you don't know what this is about, there's a synopsis somewhere, because this series is so popular. I feel like everybody knows what this book is about by now. And I have never read this, so I might do a vlog for me reading the whole series, and we will see how that goes. But for now, my goal is to finish this first book, because I can't believe I haven't finished it yet, and I've been trying to for like a year. And yeah, that is the last book of this video. Wow, that was 25 books that I currently have bookmarks in. See, I really need to stop doing it. It's a really bad habit. But then I wouldn't be able to make videos like this, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down in the chat of which books you think I should start with first, and which ones you loved, which ones you also haven't finished, or which ones you've DNF'd from this pile. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.